Our next speaker is Mr. Narendira Kumar, Associate of Experience in the Pharma industry and currently leads a team of professionals working in QA, QC and analytical validation. Mr. Kumar brings comprehensive expertise in quality as well as related functions and extensive understanding of regulatory bodies such as USFDA, MHRA and Vizag, WHO, among others. Today, he will speak on the topic knowledge management in pharma industry and overall. Please welcome Mr. Narendra.
Giving the opportunity to share some of my thoughts on the subject to the audience from the industry. Appreciate all of you for joining this event, and I will be discussing on knowledge management in the pharmaceutical industry. In advanced technology today, we have a lot of information, data available, but it's important to understand that how much knowledge we are gaining from the data and information what we are having. So next 15 minutes, I will be sharing based on my experience in the industry as well as connecting with some of the subject matter experts on the knowledge management, on the practical experience about this subject. So the views and opinions which I am expressing here are my personal opinion based on my experience in the industry and the knowledge gained with the subject matter experts. Nothing is related to the organization which I am associated with. So it's purely on my personal views. In pharmaceutical industry, it is expected that how consistently the quality of the product can be ensured. Each dosage form or the API which we produce when it is coming out and reaching out to the customers, vendors, patients. So how it can be ensured that consistency of the quality of the product is maintained. Applying the prior knowledge from the any other products or from the previous failures has been started from ICH Q8 pharmaceutical development, which ICH started quite some time back, and then subsequently ICH Q9 about risk management, pharmaceutical quality system, and then now we have continuous manufacturing, life cycle management of the drug products. All these things are developed in subsequent course of time. So the prior knowledge from the for products which we are handled in the past has been insisted, and subsequently ICH 210 which talk about the pharmaceutical quality system outlines on achieving the product realization, establishing and maintaining a state of control, and facilitating the continual improvement. So these are the objectives coming out from ICH Q10 on the pharmaceutical quality system, where industry has started to implement on today, day-to-day activity, how the continual improvement can happen. In ICH Q10, they talk about use of knowledge management and quality risk management, which will enable for the pharmaceutical companies to implement pharmaceutical quality system effectively for betterment of safety, efficacy, and ensuring that quality is consistently produced in the products which they are producing it. As I said, this is the image from the ICH Q10, which talk about throughout the product life cycle management, from the development, technology transfer, commercial manufacturing, and due to some reason if the organization decided not to continue the product, the discontinuation of the product. Throughout this life cycle, various changes happens and the knowledge gained. The product which was produced quite some time back, we have some challenge during the scale-up, or the analytical method which was developed quite some time back. During the course of time, it may create some kind of issue. So, in that way, the continual improvement is expected and to ensure that the quality product is coming out. During this journey, they talk about knowledge management and the quality risk management are two enablers which will help industry to understand and anticipate proactively some of the risks which may come in the future, how they can able to take some mitigation plan in such a way that we can avoid some of the failures. Unfortunately, in many of the cases in the industry, it happens reactive mode, right? When you have a product failure, market compliant, or some kind of stability failures, OAS, when something is getting reported, and then we try to understand that what went wrong and why it is gone, what kind of action can be taken in such a way that that can be avoided in the future. But very rarely that there is a proactive approach in such a way to understand how my product is produced and what kind of signals I am getting it, which can enable me to identify in early stage to avoid such failures, right? So that kind of proactiveness is not happening to the extent what's supposed to be. But recent past, because of regulators, especially US FDA, MHRA, and other regulatory bodies, they started to insist that how you can able to identify the signals little early stage. So in that way, I was just referring some of the white papers from US FDA, which talk about where the industry is there as of now. Okay, current status, product quality is high, but supply chain resilience is low. And because of that, there is a drug shortages coming out. Okay, there is a risk patient may not get the drug dosage which he is supposed to get, he or she, due to the issues, either due to the product issues or the infrastructure issue, and some kind of disturbance which is stopping them to supply the medicines. But the expectation from FDA, US FDA is that all the pharmaceutical companies to advance, to move, and strengthen their quality management system to become a quality management maturity QMM in such a way that there is no unexpected failures and there should not be any shortages of drug supply. As I started about the knowledge management, plenty of data, plenty of information is available. You just Google it, how to make a satellite, right? So there is a procedure is given, how you have to make the satellite. But until otherwise the knowledge and expertise is not there, you cannot make it. Information is available. In your packet, entire world is there, you can search the information and you can able to get whatever the information you want. Okay, Doctor was presenting about Vizag Pharma city. So just Google it, you will get plenty of information. But until we are reaching out to the right people, understanding the capabilities and what kind of need you want it, then only you can able to execute it. Information is available in front of you. So in such a way, the data is limited, very limited. It's talk about discrete objective facts lacking the context. It will not do anything. You have to understand that what kind of information is coming out from the data. On information part, it's a data with context and relationship, but again, it will not able to give you the complete picture about any kind of issues or learnings from that. But only the knowledge, contextualized information, which will enable you to understand the issue in front of you, what is there, right? So I remember a decade back, there was a process capability assessment is done by my team, and they brought the data and showed me this is what we feel about this process. By looking at the data initially, I was not able to understand whether the process is capable, not capable, stable or not stable. But when the same data was presented to the statistician, the way the statistician looked at the data and the normal people, there was a difference. We assumed the process is not capable with some indication. But when the process was reviewed by the statistician, he came out with saying that your process is capable. The way you evaluated is giving you misleading information. So this is what is expected from the knowledge which we gain from the process. And of course, once you have that knowledge, how that insight can help you to improve the process, product, system, culture in the system also. So that way, plenty of data is there, information is available, how that can be applied onto the activity on the knowledge and improvement, continual improvement point of view. That is what is coming out from the knowledge management. Last 2 years, we know that how the industry has struggled, not industry, the entire world, how we struggled on the pandemic, right? And slowly the things are coming out to the normal. But there is a data available which says that especially the pharmaceutical sector, the last 2 years about the efficiency and the productivity, what they have got it is comparatively very, very high pre-pandemic situation. During the pandemic, everybody thought that what is the way to come out of the situation, how we can able to handle the situation, out of box thinking, speed of rigor in the execution. Okay, a few things even we not thought that this was going to happen. But because of the pandemic, we recognize that there is a way to do it, right? So in that way, the World Economic Forum data says that 50% of things is going to change as automation, 84% acceleration, the digitalization. Many companies they started to apply the digital tools, and of course, the 83% of population expected to scale the remote work during the pandemic. That how they can able to handle it effectively. And this is from the McKinsey, which talk about the digital tool. Until otherwise we are not learning the new skills, we will be handicapped. There are many things are going to come in next 3 to 5 years, and then subsequently it is expected that we have to strengthen our skills. It says World Economic Forum, 50% of all employees is expected to reskill themselves by 2025. Next 3 years, it is expected some of the new technology which is coming on the industry, it is expected we have to upgrade ourselves. Absence of that, there will be a possibility we end up with not knowing the things, not knowing how to handle certain things, those issues going to happen. So in that way, upskilling is expected from the next few years. Knowledge management, we will be discussing it little briefly for pharmaceutical industry, and out of pharmaceutical industry there are many sectors which also they apply it, like World Health Organization, US Army, NASA, they apply knowledge management into the day-to-day activity. And this is my personal experience. ISP has come out, International Society for Pharmaceutical Engineering, come out with knowledge management in pharmaceutical industry, that is published in May 2021, and I got the opportunity to engage and have a dialogues for more than a year with subject matter experts across the globe to make this guide, which is available for public to get it and use it, which talk about how the knowledge management can be set up in the particular organization, how the maturity can be achieved, and what kind of tools are available to enable the knowledge management. And also it talks about the more than 13 case studies in pharmaceutical industry, how they have applied knowledge management at various levels, how the industry can able to use the knowledge, what is available with them for benefit of the patients by ensuring day-to-day operations. So I will be talking a little bit about some of the examples as well as how it will benefit the industry in the subsequent slide. This guide will make an attempt for industry to understand how they can adopt the knowledge management. First such guidance in the pharmaceutical industry, how to start a knowledge management strategy in your organization, right? So many of the companies, especially in India, are not started using the knowledge management concept as such. Even in world also, there are very few companies, they started a couple of years back applying the knowledge management strategy in the respective working environment. And then going forward, it is expected that it is going to be implemented in many organizations. And also it talk about product quality life cycle guide, how you can able to link with your day-to-day activity, and definitely this guide is potential blueprint for regulatory guidance and further evaluate how it can be strengthened. So overall, the knowledge management process map starts by understanding the knowledge management. You should identify a sponsor within the company who can able to facilitate the knowledge management transfer, gaining the information from the available knowledge within the organization. And once you have that information, you have to diagnose this, where you are, current state, and what is the desired state. We are here for this issue, and then how you can move on to the desired state. For that, what kind of activities has to be done, that's coming out by using some of the tools. And then whatever the strategy you identified, implement and see that whether the solution which you thought it will work, whether it is working or not working. So that is what the overall knowledge management process map, starting from the problem statement, and then identify the sponsor, evaluate the available data and information, and then implement the knowledge
into the effectively on the routine operation, see that whether what you applied is giving you effective results or not. And in this process, as I starting from the product development to the product discontinuation, the product goes on different life cycle management. And during this process, there is a possibility that you keep gaining the knowledge. As I told, there may be a possibility the product which was developed 20 years before creating some issue now. The method which was developed a decade back or 15 years back is creating some kind of issues now. It was worked, but due to some reason, it's creating some problem now. Those knowledge can be gained, and then on the continual process improvement, you can able to change those process. Of course, there will be regulatory implications if it is going for some of the stringent regulated bodies, and then you can able to implement those changes in such a way that issues can be taken care. And in the pharmaceutical industry, all of you are aware that how you can benefit, risk-benefit ratio, right? Whatever we do, we have to think in two aspects, right? What I'm doing it, is it going to create any risk to the patient? I am not supposed to do it. Or I am deviating any systems or regulations? If answer is yes, I am not supposed to deviate. If these two things are applied on day-to-day activity, the risk will be always less. By applying a knowledge management, the risk is going to come down, and then you will be able to have a better system, right? So it shows that risk is decreasing and knowledge is increasing it. When you understand the process, when you understand your system, when you understand your equipment or instrument, you will have a low risk. When you are not able to understand it completely, then that undesired, unexpected failures will come, which will create ending in the product failure, and then you will have a loss of product or business opportunity. And this guide, some of the subject matter experts, they come out with very interesting fact which I was surprised to note down. You have two different types of knowledges. One is explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge, right? And explicit knowledge is easy to understand, it is demonstrable, right? There is a procedure which says that how to operate a particular equipment or instrument, and then how to enter into some of the critical areas or sterile areas. You can able to define and you can able to follow. But there are certain things it is not possible to define it in such a manner. Until otherwise you have a knowledge and expertise in that particular area, it is not easy to do that activity. That is coming out in the tacit knowledge. Many of the activities are coming out that especially in the pharmaceutical industry, the batch which was tested and released by analyst, when another analyst when is doing it, is ending with variation results, right? The quality is same, but because the way you apply your technique and methodology, you are getting the different outcomes. That is purely on the expertise and knowledge skill what the individual is having it. And next few slides, we will be discussing about my contribution in this ISPE guideline. I talked about to have a product life cycle management, what kind of changes are happening it. Once you develop a product and you do the commercial production, there may be a possibility you do process changes, scale up, and then you do equipment change or facility change. Then analytical method is getting changed because of pharmacopoeial requirements or life cycle management. You identify some issues which you want to improve. And then finally the CQS, critical quality attributes which are coming out, which will throw you that how the product is working, whether it is having any repeated rejections or you have any no issues. So those kind of things is going to happen in a post-approval product situation. So during this, people end up with a lot of issues, how to handle it, what kind of knowledge you are gaining it. So the product history file is the concept which is getting introduced in the pharmaceutical industry, which will enable you to summarize all the product related information, right? Few years back, there was one inspection, one of the inspector asked, the product which he selected was 22 years before first batch was produced. Like last 22 years that production is happening. And then he asked, can I get a list of changes happened in the specification. A list of changes happened in the process. Now just imagine 10 years back, even some of the companies, even today they don't have digital platform to show the document. If somebody want to go back and check that 20 years back what was the specification, where we are now, it's possible, but it is going to take a lot of time to revise, get the change controls, and then summarize and give it. So this product history file, which will enable industry to start with the product development report, analytical method validations, and then scale up and technology, right? So during the course of time, you would have been done the scale up, you would have been done validation, and then subsequently there may be a changes. Supplier is changed, equipment is changed, people are changed, facilities changed, multiple changes will happen in the product while you are handling it. But how to track it, that when, what, how it is happened, until otherwise you don't have a holistic way of document system. And there may be a stability failures, batch rejections, and there may be some CAPA taken to avoid those mitigations, and of course learnings from the major deviation and incidents which are reported. These things holistically it is not available. And it is not easy to understand about a particular product, how it is behaving for last 7 years, 10 years. You have annual product review, you have a review data, but that is limited to defined period, not for the overall product history. So this product history file will enable to summarize and keep it in one place in such a way that any point of time anybody want to understand what is the starting point and where we are standing now, this product history file will help it. So if you have multiple sites, you have to keep those systems in individual sites, and then each site will have multiple products, and then each product is going to have a different issue. So holistically the product history file will enable to have depository of all the information in such a way that if the person is left the organization, somebody says earlier he was handling it, I am not knowing it how to handle this method, I am not knowing it how to operate this procedure. So those kind of dependency will go when you are having this kind of product history file. And finally, the different level of understanding will come out when you are handling the knowledge management, growing awareness. First you have to understand this setup has to be done, and then realize repeatedly you practice those learnings, and then it comes common process and approach across all the systems, all the product what you are handling it you have to implement, and then matured enough to see that you are able to proactively identify the issues, take some steps in such a way that failures can be avoided. Finally, when you come to the level 5, which is advanced stage of knowledge management, you will have continuously improving the practices. You keep improving your system, procedures in such a way that you are not getting into any kind of troubles. Okay, that is what overall the knowledge management. With limited time, I may not able to get into more detail, but the information is very clear that you have a lot of data, information with you. Until otherwise it is not fully understood, the knowledge is not it's not handled in such a manner, we may end up with some kind of issues. Okay, so with that I conclude my talk, and thanks for all your attention, and once again thanking Express Pharma for giving this opportunity, and also appreciate all the partners who are part of this event, and thank you very much. Dhanyavad. Thank you.